Still under intermolecular forces of attraction, this time let's talk about the influence of IMF, or these forces of attraction, on certain properties of molecules, such as polarity, including solubility, and later the influence of IMF on melting point or boiling point of certain molecules. So let's have first the influence of IMF on polarity. So given below is the order of forces of attraction in dissolving underwater, and talking about the solution, solvation of certain molecules, we consider polarity as one of the greatest contributing factor to know solubility property of certain molecules. And the observable intermolecular forces of attraction in certain molecules greatly affects the solubility property of that molecule. Now, this would be the order. Take note that the stronger the IMF, okay, let me write it. The stronger the intermolecular force of attraction, more likely it dissolves in water. More likely it dissolves in water. Okay, so that would mean among the intermolecular forces of attraction, recalling that the strongest one identified is hydrogen bond. Therefore, in the order, hydrogen bond would have uh, greatly or higher solubility in water, followed by the dipole-dipole. Then least likely to be dissolved in water would be those molecules with an observable van der Waals forces of attraction. Knowing that under van der Waals, majority of the types of uh, bonds being observed are nonpolar bonds. So let me write it here. So under, I'm sorry, van der Waals least likely to be dissolved in water. In water. Again, the reason, you go back to this table above, majority of the molecules, there is an observable nonpolar. Okay, nonpolar bonds. That's the primary force among nonpolar molecules. Van der Waals forces of attraction. Okay. Next, this time, let's uh, determine the influence naman of IMF on melting or boiling point of certain molecules. Now, there are two factors that influences melting or boiling points. One would be considering the strength, again, of the IMF. Take note, the stronger the IMF, it means it has higher melting or boiling point. Meaning to say, the stronger the IMF, it means um, it would require a higher energy. Okay, higher energy needed to separate molecules, to break the bonds. That's why they would have higher melting or boiling points property. So let me write it. The stronger, okay, the stronger the IMF, that would mean higher melting point or boiling point. Okay, because again, more energy is required or is needed to separate molecules, to break the bonds. Okay, now the other factor that influences melting point, boiling point would be the number of carbons. Take note, those compounds with more carbon atoms, or those compounds with longer, larger size, having more carbons, they would have higher IMF. And since higher yung IMF, therefore higher boiling point would be needed. Okay, so that's how the number of carbons influences melting point or boiling point. Let me write it. So those compounds with more carbon atoms. they have higher boiling point, melting point. However, take note of this highlighted. Branching, it tends to lower the boiling point because with the presence of branches, substituents in hydrocarbons, it reduces the surface area of the molecule, wherein the forces of attraction may interact there. So kung lesser yung surface area of the molecule, lesser din yung interaction ng forces of, or lesser yung interaction of such forces or such IMF. Okay, let me write it. So take note, the branching lowers the boiling point. How? Because it reduces the surface area where the forces may interact. Ayan. Now, in this table, okay, this tells us an example of how a certain polarity, okay, certain polarity affects the solubility of certain molecule. Let's say, for example, these are all ethers. And remember, the type formula of ethers, it's ROR. So it is being surrounded by organic group of atoms. Now, with regards to the solubilities of ethers in water, it would vary depending on the size of the organic group that surrounds the polar oxygen in an ether. Okay, that, take note, ayan, it's actually saving. That's why I cannot write texts if the image is still saving. So let's just wait. Ayan. So take note, the smaller ethers, they are the ones that easily dissolves in water. In water. Okay. The reason why, it's because with smaller organic groups, that will still dominate the polar part, okay, the polar oxygen in the functional group of an E. Okay. However, as the ether molecules gets larger, then the polar oxygen will not be evident this time. It becomes smaller than the non-polar portion, no, or the non-polar hydrocarbon. So with that, it will increase the uh, kumbaga, non-polarity or non-polar portion, favoring more on the van der Waals forces of attraction, which is least likely to be dissolved in water. Okay? So, nagiging least insoluble kapag um, larger yung non-polar hydrocarbon in an ether. Okay? So, let me write it as ether molecules. Okay? They get larger, then the polar oxygen will become smaller compared to the non-polar hydrocarbons. Non-polar hydrocarbons. Let's just wait for the texts to be visible on the screen because somehow the screen is freezing. Okay, thus it will increase the non-polar portion, favoring van der Waals forces of attraction. Okay, and again, remember, kapag more non-polar molecules observable, then it would be least likely to be dissolved in water. Okay, so that's how polarity affects solubility. Okay, next, for this table below, ito naman would be application of how IMF influences the boiling point or melting point of such molecules. Okay, so take note, as we recall kanina, the number of one of the factor that affects melting point, boiling point would be the number of carbon atoms. Okay, number of carbon atoms. Okay, so let's check here in the table. Try to observe as um, we increase, no, as the number of carbon atom increases, number of carbon increases. Try to look at the melting point and also the boiling point values, and also increases. Kasi again, yung relationship directly proportional as more carbon atoms being observed in molecules, that will increase the IMF. And if uh, that increases intermolecular forces of attraction, that will increase the melting point, the boiling point. We require more energy now to separate the bonds, break the bonds, okay, to melt, liquefy a certain molecule. Okay, try to observe. Diba? With for those molecules with more carbon atoms, we tend to increase the boiling point. Ganun din yung melting point nag-increase. Kapag uh, closer or among the negative values, no, sa melting point, boiling point. For melting point, take note, kapag yung values is closer to zero, kapag ang values close to zero, that is considered higher value. Okay? So, ayan. Again, let me write it. Among the negative values, yung mga values closer to zero, they are of higher values. Okay, so that's it. So that's all about intermolecular forces of attraction and their influences to certain properties of molecules. Next. Okay, this time, let's review on strains and also the concepts related to resonance. Okay, let's start with strain. How do we define strain? Strain, it refers to the instability in molecules. Okay, it refers to the instability in molecules. Just wait for the text to be visible in the screen na yan. Medyo delay lang siya. Okay? Now, these instability in molecules could be caused by certain deviations, bond angles formed in a ring structure, or this could be caused by steric effect, or it could be caused by such torsional interactions. And because of these strains, that would greatly affect the molecule's instability, the molecule's reactivity. Okay, now this time, let us review on these different types of strains and where it is more likely observable. Okay, so when we say ring strain, uh, this is when yung bond angles are being forced away from their ideal values due to formation of ring, okay, due to closure of a structure into a ring system. Okay, this could be observed again due to ring closure. Let's say, for example, um, in the case of propane, diba? Yung propane, if you try to draw it, the propane looks like this. You have a 3 carbon containing chain. And the ideal bond angle for each central carbon would be 109.5 degrees, meaning the carbon here is in sp3, hybridized each carbon in a propane structure is in ideally 109.5 degrees bond angle. Okay. Now, because of the formation of the equivalent ring structure of propane, which is cyclopropane, there would be an observable ring strain or twisting of the angles away from the ideal na band angle, which is 109.5 degrees. And that is very much expected kasi yung ring is in a closed system. Okay? Ring strain usually observable siya sa mga smaller na ring structures. Okay? Let me draw pala yung cyclopropane. Diba? Yung cyclopropane is now a closed system ring structure, 3 carbon containing, and yung itsura looks like this. Ayan. So, ganun pa rin, naka-sp3 hybridized yung each carbon in a ring, but since we tend to form already ring closure, then expected na there will be um, band angles that is being forced away. Okay, so that's all about ring strain. Next, we also have torsional strain. When I say torsional strain, this happens when atoms are being forced to be closer than the preferred distance. So this is usually defined as having a closing of such angles between parallel bonds, which draws atoms closer, okay, than the preferred distance. And that would lead to repulsion. Okay, so let me give you an example where torsional strain can be observed. Let's say, for example, yung compound molecule of ethane. Remember, we have a conformational um, isomers for ethane, which could be represented using Newman projection. Let's recall that. Yung Newman projection for ethane, we could have two ways to represent the molecule ethane using this Newman projection. We have the eclipsed, okay, and we also have the staggered one. Let me draw it first. Okay, so yung eclipsed would look like this. Ayan. Okay. So, kumbaga, pag eclipse, all bonds are coinciding. Ayan. And these are the hydrogens attached for each carbon in ethane structure. So that's eclipsed. Again, all bonds are coinciding. Now, yung eclipse is actually a less stable conformation. As we recall, less stable conformation of the structure ethane when represented using Newman projection or using Sohor's projection. Yung eclipse is less stable kumpara sa staggered. So, kapag staggered conformation, that would be most preferred one. Kasi tingnan, this time, yung arrangement ng surrounding hydrogen is now alternating. Ayan, so there is now alternating bonds. And again, this is more stable na conformation for ethane. Kasi this time, using staggered conformation, this applies the VSEPR theory, which states that in order to minimize the repulsion, then each group of valence electron around central atom should be located as far as possible from the others. Okay, so that's all about torsional strain. Next, um, we also have steric effect that may also impact molecule stability. And yung steric effect is commonly caused by presence of bulky groups, which tries to compete for a certain space in a molecule, which also leads to repulsion. Okay, so it's about competition for space due to bulky groups, presence of bulky groups. Okay, let's say for example, let's recall a the conformations for the ring cyclohexane. We have two conformations. We have the both one. Ayan. Okay. So that's the both conformation. And then we also have the chair conformation for a cyclohexane. Let's say the given illustration would be a substituted cyclohexane. I will add a substituent present in a cyclohexane. Okay, so the other one would be the chair conformation. And it looks like this. Okay, somehow it looks like this one. Okay, and let's say the substituent would be methyl groups. So we have a methyl here, another methyl. Okay. And then we also have methyl here sa chair conformation and then a methyl. Okay? Ayan. Now, try to observe the first conformation, the both conformation for substituted cyclohexane. Now, because of the presence of these bulky groups, okay, these are bulky groups, yung methyl groups, that could actually lead to repulsion. That is an example of um, uh, forming, or that could be an example of a steric effect, observable steric effect, because this time these groups, bulky groups, they try to compete for a certain space, okay, in that molecule of cyclohexane. And again, certain steric effect would lead to repulsion, and that will cause instability of the molecule. That's why between the two conformation, more preferably, yung chair conformation of cyclohexane is the more stable one. Okay, more stable. Okay, so that's all about uh, the different strains that refers to instability in certain molecules. Okay, again, yung ring strain is common among smaller ring, formation of smaller ring, because there will be twisting now of angles, or there will now be band angles that are being forced away, okay, from the ideal values because of the ring closure. Torsional strain naman, this is observable when there is closing of angles between parallel bands. Example on the conformation eclipsed for the structure ethane. There is an observable coinciding of all bonds when it is represented in eclipse conformation. And then the steric effect, this is when there is presence of bulky groups that competes for certain space in the molecule. Okay. This time, let's talk about resonance, the concept related to resonance. When we say resonance, this uh, this is all about delocalization of the electrons in the pi bonds across molecules. Okay, so this describes the delocalization of electrons across molecules, particularly those electrons present in the pi bonds. Okay, as written here, the pi electrons, they move around. They are being delocalized, being shared, okay, among adjacent atoms. Let's say, for example, here in the given illustration, this shows the resonance being observed in the inorganic compound or inorganic polyatomic anion carbonate. Okay, carbonate. And try to observe when we draw the Lewis structure of carbonate showing its resonance, we could produce three Lewis structures for carbonate ion. Okay, wherein we could observe the localization of electrons among adjacent atoms. Ayan. Now, by the way, you have to review also how these Lewis structures are being obtained. Uh, you just have to know the placement of the central and the surrounding atom, and then you total the valence electron and know the remaining electrons, how many electrons it would be distributed for the surrounding and to the central atom. Okay, so let's try to review on that. So the placement would be carbon would be the central atom, then oxygen as um, the surrounding atom. Ayan. And then when we total the valence electron, let's try to total. Ayan. The valence electron, carbon would have 4, oxygen would have 6 times 3, no? So that would be 18 electrons. So total of 22 electron. And then you add 2 because it's a polyatomic anion, negatively charged. So that would be plus 2 electrons. So total of 24 electrons. And then you draw lines to connect the atoms from the central to the surrounding, and you subtract the equivalent electrons in each of that bond lines we have drawn. So minus 6, okay? Because you have drawn 3 bonds, so that's equivalent to 6 electrons for 3 bonds. Okay, so the remaining electrons would be 18 electrons. Yung 18 electrons, we tend to distribute that, okay, for first to the surrounding atom. So for them to attain octet. So that would be 6 electrons for each oxygen. For them to attain the octet, kasi they already carry one bond. One bond is equivalent to 2 electrons. Then plus 6 that we added, we distributed. So that would be 8 in totality for each oxygen. So 6, 12, and then 18. However, when we check the central atom, it did not attain yet the octet state kasi tatlo lang yung bonds surrounding the carbon. So that's equivalent to 6 electrons lang. So to attain octet, we have to change the lone pair from the surrounding into a bonding pair. Ayan. So you erase that lone pair, change that into a bonding pair. Only for the carbon to attain its octet state, its stable state. Okay, so this could be one of the Lewis structure for carbonate ion. Now, since there are other oxygen in the surrounding, we can also make use of their lone pair and make use of that into changing that into a bonding pair. So pwede din. That's why we could observe or obtain total of 3 Lewis structures for the polyatomic ion carbonate. Okay, and with that, we could observe the localization of certain electrons among adjacent atoms in this example, specific example of compound. Okay, so that's all about a resonance. The most common resonance could be observed in benzene. It's a very popular model for resonance. Okay, and as we recall, di ba, we have a structure, two kumbaga Lewis structure for benzene, and we could observe an alternating or conjugated pi bond system for benzene molecule, alternating single bond, double bond, single bond, double bond. And usually, when a compound has an observable resonance property or characteristic, we could observe, or we could uh, make use of the hybrid forms or the average of these two. Okay, average of these two structure to show the actual molecule of that compound. The hybrid form that represents the actual form of the molecule. Okay, wherein for benzene, the hybrid form is shown via having the alternating pi bond system represented using a dashed circle or yung literal na circle inside the six-membered ring. So yan yung hybrid form. Again, the hybrid form is just the average of this resonance forms. Okay. For carbonate, yung average or hybrid form of this molecule would look like this. So you have a carbon, oxygen in the surrounding, and then, ayan, this shows, kumbaga yung pi bond, it is being represented using a dashed line. Okay, that is just to show that the electrons has been delocalized, and that maintains the stability of the compound of that molecule. And so that's all about resonance. Okay, this time, let's review on the inductive effects. When I say inductive effects, this refers to the electron donating or the electron withdrawing influence of certain atoms based on their electronegativity. So electronegativity is one of the contributing factor here that induces this effect. Okay, and we have learned certain atoms that are highly electronegative. For example, fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine. Diba? These are examples of highly electronegative atoms. Fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, and the rest of the halogens, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Ayan. Now, there are two possible effects, inductive effects, that causes electron, okay, to that causes electron pools, okay, due to differences in electronegativity. So we have, for example, the inductive effects caused by low electronegative atoms and the inductive effects exhibited by highly electronegative atoms. Take note, those low electronegative atoms, uh, they exhibit electron donating na inductive effect. Okay? Kumpara sa highly electronegative atom. Kasi yung highly electronegative atom, they would exhibit, of course, electron withdrawing effect because they are more attracted to electron. They attract electrons more. That's why they will withdraw electrons. Okay, they are electron withdrawing inductive effect. For example, under low electronegative atoms, of course, may yung mga alkyl groups. Alkyl groups represented by a carbon. Example, yung methyl groups. This may induce electron donating effect. Okay, let's say, for example, in the compound toluene. Okay, toluene looks like this. It's a benzene ring with an attached methyl group. Yung methyl attached to the benzene ring, it would rather donate electron, okay, to the ring, to the benzene ring, increasing the reactivity, okay, of benzene ring. Okay, this is a known, yung mga alkyl group, they are known to be electron donating. They prefer to donate electrons. Okay? Kasi they are low electronegative atom. Okay? Another example is the formation of a tertiary, secondary, primary, or of the carbocation. Okay? Example, for a tertiary carbon, take note, uh, uh, this would have, kumbaga, more stable nga characteristic compared to the primary one. Okay? Kasi a tertiary carbon would mean that it is being surrounded by three other carbons. Okay, let's go back to this illustration. In a tertiary carbon, this is being surrounded by three other carbon. Okay? And that would mean the surrounding carbon would prefer to donate electrons, okay, to the central carbon, forming that would easily form a carbocation. When I say carbocation, it's a carbon with a positive charge. Okay? Kung okay, ko-compare mo sa methyl, okay, tingnan, sa methyl nga structure, diba, yung surrounding niya are puro hydrogen. Okay? And hydrogen has one of the least electronegative nga atom. So, that would cause delay formation or longer formation of these carbocation. That's why it is least stable. Okay? So again, in this order, tertiary carbon is more stable. Okay? More stable nga alpha carb. Kasi again, it is being surrounded by three other carbons that would that have or that exhibit electron donating inductive effect. So that would easily form carbocation in this case. On the other hand, we have a highly electronegative atom that exhibit electron withdrawing effect. Okay. With the presence of, take note, highly electronegative atom, like we mentioned kanina, yung chlorine oxygen, okay, chlorine or any halogens, they tend to, of course, pull electrons, okay, away from the molecule. Okay? And with that, it will somehow increase, no, the acidity property of that molecule. Okay, so that's the effect of having highly electronegative atom um, present in a molecule. Okay, how does it affect the acidity? Take note, ha? More electron withdrawing effect that increases the acidity as well. Okay. So again, let's have, for example, in this given order, in this order, take note that for this carbon, try to observe na this carbon has more electronegative atom surrounding it. Okay, so that would mean more electron withdrawing effect is being observable. Okay, and that will cause less stable alpha carbon. Okay, making the compound more acidic. Okay, as the trend, okay, or as the order represents here. Take note, try to observe the pKa values. As the pKa values depreciates, or the lower the pKa, the acidity of that molecule also increases. So take note, ha, adding electronegative atoms, that lowers the pKa. Okay, and that would make the compound more acidic. Okay, yung relationship kasi niya is proportional. The lower the pKa, the more acidic din the molecule. Okay, the lower the pKa, yung pH value, di ba, also decreases. So, the more acidic yung molecule. How do we define acidity ba? Acidic yung molecule. Yung acidity, remember, we could define acidity when yung compound easily releases proton. So try to observe here if these the carbon is being surrounded by highly electronegative atom, that would mean na they will easily donate electrons to that molecule. And with that, it will easily cause release of proton also in that molecule. Mas madali yung pag dissociate ng hydrogen to the molecule. But that's how we define acidity. If the compound easily releases proton, then it is more acidic. So the more electronegative atoms surrounds that molecule, then that will make the compound also more acidic. It would be easier for that compound to release proton. Okay, so that's all about inductive effects. Again, we have two types of inductive effects. We have those electron donating inductive effect caused by low electronegative atom, and we also have electron withdrawing effect caused by highly electronegative atom. Okay, next, let's talk about isomerism. When we say isomerism, this is actually one of the property of a carbon. Okay, aside from what you have learned, stability, hybridization, diba? We have learned that those are examples of also ng properties of carbon atom. When we say stability, we consider carbon as highly stable because it will always share, diba? Its 4 valence electron forming 4 covalent bonds. So that is all about stability of carbon atom. We also have yung hybridization. And that can, for carbon, it could exhibit different hybridization. Yung sp, sp2, sp3. sp, sp2, and then ayan, sp3. Okay, wherein, as we recall, kapag sp hybridization, that is when yung carbon is present with 2 double bonds or with an observable 1 triple bond. Okay, that is having a linear na molecular geometry with an ideal bond angle 180 degrees. sp2 hybridized naman if the carbon have 1 double bond. Okay, then the rest are single bonds. And the ideal bond angle here, diba, is 120 degrees, having a shape trigonal planar. And finally, sp3 hybridized, that is when yung carbon is being surrounded only by single bonds. All are single bonds. And the ideal bond angle, it's 109.5 degrees with a tetrahedral shape. Okay. So aside from these properties, we also have isomerism. And when we say isomerism, that refers to the phenomenon or existence okay, of a compound with same formula but different structure. Okay, so that's how we define isomerism. It's a phenomenon, existence of a molecule with same formula but different structure. When I say isomers naman na term, it's the set of molecules. Yan yung set of molecules with same, okay, formula but different structure. Okay? So yan yung term naman na isomer. It's all about the set of molecules. Okay? Having same formula, different structure. Now there are two general classification ng isomers. We have the constitutional isomer. The other one is stereoisomer. And we'll have a review on that on the preceding texts below. For now, overview muna. Yung constitutional isomer, yung difference sa structure dito has something to do with the differences in the connectivity of atoms, difference in the order of bonding. Okay, differ in the order of bonding. Okay? Whereas kapag stereoisomer naman, we are referring to still having the same connectivity of atoms, but they have different spatial orientation or spatial arrangement. Okay? So usually the set of molecules forming stereoisomer are being represented using 2D representation or 3D representation of molecules. Okay, let's have under constitutional isomer, there are three sub-classification. We have the skeletal, or this is also known as structural or chain isomer. So in here, this is more commonly observed among alkanes because alkanes may have difference in the degree of branching. So kung yung difference has something to do with the degree of branching, then that is an example of a chain isomer. Positional isomer naman, yung difference has something to do with the position, the location, the locant of substituent, or the location of the functional group. And then we also have functional isomer. This is when yung difference has something to do with the actual functional group in the molecules. Okay, so these are three sub-classifications ng constitutional isomer. Under stereoisomer naman, we also have two general classification, the configurational and the conformational isomer. Under configuration isomer, we have optical isomer, and then we also have geometric isomer. Pag optical isomer, we have two examples rather. We have the enantiomers and diastereomers. Two configurations that we could identify under enantiomers would be the RS configuration, R or the S configuration. Enantiomers, it is when we could observe in a molecule mirror image, but they are non-superimposable. Okay, let me write it. Mirror image, but not superimposable. Whereas yung diastereomers naman, they are non-mirror image. And at the same time, they are non-superimposable. We'll review that later sa preceding na mga texts. Okay? Particularly, yung under diastereomers, we only consider them as optically active if that molecule if the molecule has chiral center. Has chiral center. No problem with enantiomers because these exist um, because they all have chiral center. But in the case of diastereomers, there are diastereomers molecules wherein when we check their molecule, there is no chiral center. So we don't consider that as optically active, or they are not optical isomer at all. Okay? So specific lang yung diastereomer dito that falls under optical isomer if that molecule has chiral center. Okay. Now, the other classification of configurational stereoisomer is yung geometric. Yung geometric commonly occurs among alkene compound, or it may also occur in cyclic compound. So, common siya among alkenes. So, it occurs among alkenes or may occur in cyclic compounds. Okay, and there are two classes of configuration that we could observe under geometric isomer. We have the cis trans and we have the easy. We'll review on that on the preceding texts. Then finally, we have conformational nga isomer. Kumbaga, under conformational isomer, this is having different conformations of molecules, and this could occur among open chain or cyclic ring. Okay, so in here, the set of molecules, they differ in conformations. Okay, and again, this may occur among open chain or pwede din naman sa ring. Okay, so that's it. So again, under stereo isomer, generally we have two: configurational and conformational. Okay, under configurational, we have optical isomers and geometric. And then lastly, for under conformation, we have the conformational isomer. Okay, so let's review on this types of isomers, starting with constitutional isomers, wherein again, yung differences in the structure is due to the differences in the order of bonding. We have three specific examples, yung chain isomer, excuse me, or structural skeletal isomer. And I've mentioned that this is common among alkanes because we could observe differences in the degree of branching among alkanes. So common among alkanes. Ayan. So say for example, yung given dito, you have here pentane, and the other one, isomer, is yung 2-methyl butane. If you try to observe the two skeletal isomer, they have the same formula. Both of the structure have 5 carbons. If you try to count each, no? 5 carbons for pentane, 5 carbons also for 2-methyl butane. And for the number of hydrogen, that's total of 12. They simply follow the general formula of an alkane, CnH2n plus 2. If there are 5 carbons, the total number of hydrogen would be 12. Okay, so that's all about chain isomerism. They only differ because of the presence of branching already in that alkane. Positional isomers when they differ on the location of the substituent or location of the functional group. Let's say, for example, in this given illustration, butan 1-ol versus butan 2-ol, we could observe that the two structure only differ because of the difference of the hydroxyl, the functional group hydroxyl. For butan 1-ol, the position of hydroxyl is at carbon 1. For butan 2-ol, the position of hydrogen is at carbon 2. Okay, and when we check the chemical formula, parehas lang, C4 H10O. 4 carbons, 10 hydrogen, isang oxygen. You can manually count that. Okay, another example wherein we could observe positional isomer is among di-substituted benzene ring. Substituted benzene molecule. Okay, let's say for example, the given di-substituted benzene would be dichlorobenzene. Okay, so we have 3 isomers for dichlorobenzene depending on the position of the 2 chloro. It could be in ortho position, in meta position, or in para position. Okay, so this could be an example of positional isomer. Try to observe the structure, they only differ because of the differences in the position of the substituent chloro. Then finally, still under constitutional isomer, we have the functional isomer. So this time they differ naman sa structure because of the difference in the functional group. Observe that on the first structure, the functional group is alcohol. On the second structure, the functional group is an ether. Okay, now try to observe the number of carbon atoms, hydrogen and oxygen parehas lang. So they have the same formula, C2H6O. Okay, and then they differ sa structure because of the differences in the functional group. So those are the 3 examples of constitutional isomer. Again, we have the chain, positional, and functional isomerism. Under configurational, under stereoisomer rather, under stereoisomer naman, recalling, yung stereoisomer, ayan. Yung differences dito has something to do with the differences sa spatial orientation ng buong molecule. Same connectivity lang, but different yung orientation nila in space. So we have configurational isomer. Under this, we have the geometric, and then the other one, optical. So as we mentioned kanina, yung geometric isomer, these are commonly observed among compounds, alkenes. Kasi yung alkenes, meron silang double bond. And yung characteristic kasi ng carbon-to-carbon double bond, it is not able to rotate. Yung portion na yan ng alkene is rigid, so it cannot be rotated. Okay? And with that, kung hindi yan pwedeng mag-rotate, we can observe different, kumbaga, configuration or position ng substituents in the 2 adjacent double bond carbons. Let's say, for example, one of the configuration that we could identify under geometric isomer would be the cis-trans isomer. This is commonly applied among simple alkenes. Again, this is applicable among simple alkenes. How do we know? Simple yung example ng alkene structure. If we could observe sa each double bond carbon, only 1 atom is being attached directly to the double bond carbon. Hindi mahaba, no, yung attached or complicated, complex yung substituent attached to the double bond carbon. At least 1 group of atom attached, no, to each double bond carbon, then we could apply cis-trans, okay, na configuration. But one of the distinguishing factor wherein we could apply cis-trans, it is when upon checking the 2 molecules, okay, there should be at least, no, 1 identical group, usually in the form of hydrogen, and the rest are different groups. At least man lang na ay identical group, no, attached to each double bond carbon. For example, in this case, diba, you can observe each double bond carbon with a hydrogen. So each of them may hydrogen. Ganun din sa kabila. Each double bond carbon, merong tig-isang hydrogen. So at least, no, at least meron silang one identical group, usually in a form of hydrogen. That is when we could apply cis trans. Okay. Now, when to say it is in cis isomer, when naman yung trans isomer cis, if same side, okay, yung hydrogen atom or yung identical atom in each double bond carbon. So, for each double bond carbon, same side man yung hydrogen, then this is a cis isomer. Trans isomer naman if opposite yung side. Okay, or opposite sides yung location ng identical group, specifically yung hydrogen. Okay? Now, the other configuration under geometric isomer is yung EZ configuration. E and Z configuration. And usually, yung EZ configuration, this applies if each carbon, okay, or each double bond carbon. Let me write it first. Double bond carbon has two different groups attached. So, dapat magkaiba na yung groups attached to each double bond carbon. Let's say, for example, let me have a specific example for you to easily understand it. Let's say you have an alkene, and for the first double bond carbon, meron siyang chloro dito, then sa baba hydrogen. Then on the second double bond carbon, you have, let's say, methyl, yung sa taas, then sa baba, bromo. Okay? Let's wait for the image to be saved so that I could write text. Ayan. And bromo. Try to observe. Each double bond carbon, different groups is attached. Ganun din sa kabila. Different groups yung attached. Okay? Now, to identify the specific configuration here, if E or Z configuration siya, kasi that is what type of configuration that we could apply here. No, EZ configuration. Kasi nga yung double bond carbon has two different groups attached. Okay? To identify the specific configuration here, we have to apply CIP rule. So this is guided by the rule CIP or yung can in gold. Let me write it. Can in gold. Pre-log rules. Let's say CIP rules. This makes use of atomic number. Kumbaga, it ranks the group of atoms based on atomic number. Okay, again, it ranks, okay, the substituents based on atomic number. And so that's all about CIP rules. Particularly, we consider that as Z isomer if we check na same side yung mga priority groups, same side yung priority groups. E isomer naman if opposite, okay, side yung priority groups. Okay? So, yung priority groups would be the reference point. How do we know it's the priority group? It should have higher atomic number. Okay, so halimbawa, you try to compare chloro versus hydrogen, which has higher atomic number. It would be chloro, diba? Yung higher priority group here kasi nga it has higher atomic number. Dito, between carbon, you rank only the first carbon, the atom, the first atom directly attached to the double bond carbon. So you rank carbon versus bromo, which has higher atomic number. So that would be bromo. So siya yung higher priority group on that side naman. Now observe, yung position ng higher priority groups are in opposite side. Therefore, this is an example of an E isomer. Okay? E isomer. Ayan. Kasi nga, opposite side, yung higher priority groups. When it is considered higher priority groups, if higher yung atomic number niya. Okay, so that's all about easy isomerism. By the way, yung Z dyan, it comes from the German word zusammen, which means same side. And then E comes from the German word entgegen, which means opposite. Okay, so that's all about geometric isomers. We could identify cis strands or an easy configuration. Okay, still under configurational isomer, we have optical isomers. Okay, now optical isomers, these are stereoisomers that have different configuration, resulting from having at least one central atom that is attached with four distinct groups or having chiral carbon. So it would mean that we consider a molecule as optically active if we have an observable chiral carbon. Okay, so I repeat. Um, let's wait again. So again, for a compound to be considered optically active or having an existence of optical isomers, then we must check certain criteria present in that compound. One should be presence of chiral carbon. The other one would be no symmetry element should be observed. Okay, or that would mean non-superimposable. Superimposable yung molecules. Okay? Want to say chiral ang isang carbon kapag naka-sp3 hybridized yung carbon. Meaning to say, there are four groups attached to that carbon. And that four groups should be different groups or different groups, iba-iba. For example, you have a carbon attached with chloro, the other one hydrogen, methyl, then the other one would be bromo. Okay? Ayan. And then, the other criteria for that compound to be optically active, there should be no symmetry element or at least non-superimposable yung compound. Okay? Non-superimposable, it is when we place the molecule or one molecule on top of the other molecule, walang symmetry or walang alignment na makikita. Okay? Or hindi coinciding lahat ng parts of each molecule as we placed one compound to another on top of another compound. Okay? Now let me remind you also that kapag ang compound is considered optically active, meaning to say that compound has the ability to rotate plane polarized light. It has the ability to rotate plane polarized light. Okay, either to the left or to the right. If to the right yung rotation ng plane polarized light, that would mean it's in dextro-rotatory, okay? Or small letter D, or positive sign. That's the dextro-rotatory. Right yung rotation. And then levorotatory naman, or negative sign, if to the left yung rotation ng plane polarized light. However, these property no, ng optical isomers able to rotate plane polarized light, this can only be determined experimentally. Okay, this can be determined experimentally. Okay. Ayan. And usually yung equipment na ginagamit to determine that, yung rotation ng plane polarized light would be using polarimeter. Okay. Now, for this given example or figure below, let me erase first the writings, ha? Ayan. Ayan. Now, yung figure below, this actually illustrates the concept of optical isomerism, specifically the concept related to enantiomer and yung chirality of lactic acid. Observe that the molecules here represented, particularly yung lactic acid, they are mirror image, but they are non-superimposable. Okay? Ito, this tells us na mirror image yung dalawang molecule. So these are example of optical isomers. However, when you place one compound on top of another compound, hindi nag-a-align, hindi coinciding yung hydroxyl, yung methyl, yung carboxyl to each other. Okay, so non-superimposable. Sila not aligned on top of each other. Okay? So this is an example of enantiomer. That's how we describe an enantiomer, mirror image, but non-superimposable. Okay? Whenever a compound exists as enantiomer, automatic na yung isa dyan, dextro-rotatory, yung isa naman, levorotatory. Always yan. Pag enantiomer, may enantiomer yung compound, it will always have an equivalent dextrorotatory. The other one is levorotatory. Yung again ha, yung positive sign dito, that refers to dextrorotatory. And then yung negative sign, levorotatory. However, this characteristic, again, cannot be determined by just looking at the structure. It can be determined experimentally using polarimeter. Yung ability niya ba to rotate a plane polarized light. Okay? Please do not confuse this dextro-rotatory, levorotatory with the rotation nga, notation nga DL notation. It's different. D and L notation, this refers to position po ng hydroxyl present in the last chiral carbon of a molecule. Let me write it. It refers to the position of hydroxyl in the last chiral carbon of a molecule. Okay, usually when a molecule is presented in a Fischer projection, there are molecules ng carbohydrates na we could observe a D and L positioning of hydroxyl. D would mean that the hydroxyl is positioned on the right. Okay, well, whereas yung L Yung hydroxyl is positioned on the left. Okay? You can search for the example dito wherein you could distinguish a DL notation. Example is yung sa Fisher projection ng D-glucose versus D-mannose versus D-galactose, no? You search for the Fisher projection ng tatlo. Yung kinumpare yung tatlo, having differences nila sa position ng hydroxyl in their last chiral carbon center. Kumbaga, nagdi-differ lang yung tatlong structure na to when represented in Fisher projection via their difference sa positioning ni hydroxyl sa ilahang last chiral carbon. Okay? Yan, so do not confuse the capital letter D, capital letter L nga notation to this concept na dextrolevo. Hindi po yan yung dextrolevo. Kasi yung dextrolevo, small letter D, then small letter L. Okay, I believe this will be introduced then sa biochemistry nyo na review in your finals term. Okay? Ayan. Now, a separate concept on enantiomer is yung two types niya or two types of configuration that we could identify, which describes the 3D arrangement of atoms around the chiral center. If we cannot simply, going back na siya sa enantiomer nga concept, if we cannot determine dextro-levorotatory by just looking at the structure, we could identify another configuration sa enantiomer, yung RS configuration. Ito naman, let me write it. Let's wait for the image to be saved. It's still saving. Okay. Ayan. So again, an RS configuration, this could be identified, okay, sa enantiomer for those molecules that are identified as enantiomer. Again, yung RS configuration, this describes the 3D arrangement. Okay, 3D arrangement of atoms around the chiral center or chiral carbon. Okay, particularly it also applies CIP rules. Okay, yung R at saka S configuration, it follows CIP rules. Let me write it here na lang sa kabila. Ayan. CIP rules. Again ha, yung RS configuration. It also applies CIP rules. R if clockwise yung arrangement, okay, ng priority groups, clockwise yung arrangement ng priority groups from highest priority to lowest priority. Okay, from highest priority to lowest priority groups. Then, S configuration naman, if counterclockwise. Ayan. Yung arrangement. So this time, pabaliktad. Okay? Ayan. Say for example, in this, let's say for example, this is still lactic acid, but in 3D siya na arrangement. Yung pinakita lang dito is yung numbering ng mga priority groups. Let's say for example, we reorient the structure following consistent to a steering wheel para mas madali yung pag-identify if it is an RS configuration. Okay? So, let's say for example, yung mga color pink, yung color pink is hydroxyl, referring to hydroxyl. Ayan. And then yung color green is referring to carboxyl group. Ayan. And then yung color blue is referring to methyl. And hydrogen naman, yung we don't usually rank hydrogen. So you might as well exclude that. Okay. So again, hydroxyl yung pink. Base sa illustration ng lactic acid ha, yung color pink is hydroxyl. Ayan. Then methyl, and then carboxyl. Okay, now try to observe on the left nga configuration or arrangement no, of atoms following an appearance of a steering wheel. Observe nga if we rank the priority groups, yung highest priority dito would be oxygen. Again, we rank here based on CIP rules. Our reference would be the atomic number of the first atom directly attached to the chiral center. Okay? So let's say, for example, you compare oxygen versus carbon. Okay, so oxygen here would have higher atomic number, so siya yung priority group, and that would be followed by the carbon with an oxygen. Okay, again we rank the first atom directly attached to carbon. Parehas man sila carbon, yung green at saka blue, carbon, you proceed now. You cannot rank if the same yung atom, syempre. So you proceed on the second atom. Okay, attached to that carbon. So oxygen yung kasunod, dito hydrogen. So yung second priority therefore would be yung carboxyl. Kaya siya yung rank 2, and then third na yung buong methyl. So try to observe the rotation, yung arrangement ng priority groups. It's in clockwise direction. So kung clockwise, R configuration yun. Base sa definition natin kanina. If clockwise yung arrangement ng atoms from highest to lowest priority group, then R configuration. And then on the other side, okay, naka-S configuration naman yung kabila. Okay? Try to observe. Yung arrangement is counter-clockwise naman dito. Okay? So if there is actually an R configuration for that enantiomer, automatic meron din siyang S configuration equivalent. Okay? So again, enantiomer, this shows mirror images but non-superimposable. Okay? Now, diastereomers naman, generally, yung stereoisomer na to has an observable non-mirror image na characteristic plus non-superimposable. And based on the definition, they may differ in on the rotation on one chiral carbon. Okay? So, it may only differ on rotation, ayan, only in one chiral carbon. Rotation of one chiral carbon. Ayan. So, let's say, for example, that shows diastereomer. Okay. Ayan. So, halimbawa, we have a represented in Fisher projection. Let me have an example muna. I'll draw it first. Ayan. Then sa kabila, OOH, and then dito naman, puro hydroxyl on the left side. Okay. Now, if we check each of the chiral center as being highlighted, yung chiral center on the first molecule is in S configuration. Okay? Kumbaga, kung titingnan mo yung rotation ng mga priority groups, it's in counterclockwise direction. Okay, this would be the first priority group, followed by the carboxyl. Okay, then so on and so forth. Ganun din dito sa baba. Hydroxyl first, and then for this chiral carbon, yung second chiral carbon, which is also in S configuration. Counterclockwise din, yung rotation, arrangement ng mga atoms. On the other side, no, on the other molecule represented, yung first chiral carbon is actually in R configuration, and yung nasa baba is in S configuration. So, tingnan, yung nasa taas, the hydroxyl is on the left, and then followed by the carboxyl. So, naka-clockwise direction. Okay? Kaya R configuration. Compare sa baba, okay, na chiral center, the configuration is in S configuration. So, try to observe the two structure. They only differ on rotation of one chiral center. Okay, dito sila nag-differ sa first chiral center. Yung isa S, yung isa naman R. Okay, so that's all about diastereomer.